Welcome to Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. I'm Chris Lee, joined by Chase Robinson and Jay Greason. We are previewing Tennessee's road trip to the Swamp to face Florida, 6:30 Central on ABC. The Vols 3.5-point road favorites with an over/under of 57.5 per our friends at FanDuel. We will tell you our opinions on the game, who's going to win, give you all the key stuff you need in just a minute. But before we get there, as always, a reminder, we are brought to you by our friends at Game Time Sidekicks, which makes this wonderful officially licensed stainless steel drinkware that I have in front of me. All SEC schools, 350 other universities, stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, and shaker cups. SE16 gets you 20% off the entire order. Jay Greason, I don't know what's going through your head on this one, but I'm just going to let you start and go here.
Chase knows. Chase damn well knows. He didn't show up with his cup, damn it.
Second week in a row,
with your cup.
I mean, damn it, man. You're like a middle school catcher. You've got to bring your cup every single time you show up to play.
Well, we've established that Chase didn't show up, but who's most likely to no-show between Florida and Tennessee?
Florida, 100%.
Both teams, really, okay, both teams have had reasons. Tennessee got rid of Boo Carter, which I think is a big step in the right direction for locker room stuff. Florida's also at home. We know the history of the series. Florida's just owned them there. But, hey, I don't know how much history matters these days because the conditions are so much different. Jay, start us off. What are you thinking with this one?
Well, all right, let's talk about the galvanizing that is possible when you kick off or you part ways with a player like Boo Carter, who is unbelievably and undoubtedly NFL talented, but has become a locker room distraction to the nth degree. And then your words ring a little more true because everybody looks up and goes, okay, you're going to kick off that guy? If I'm a mid-tier player, I got to work harder because now you're looking around about the reasons for our substandard play and how we are not winning coin flip games like Oklahoma, like Georgia, like some of these games, especially at home. You get a chance to go on the road, which I actually think is a good thing. Look, the Swamp's been a house of horrors for Tennessee since I was back in my drinking days. But it is a conversation about playing away from home to galvanize the kids in your locker room is a good thing. And look, Florida played hard in Oxford and still got pushed around. You really got to wonder how many folks down there in the Swamp are now looking at their personal resume over their program goals. Because, I mean, I'm not just talking about players with the portal possibility. How many of those coaches now, because they're going to clear the deck. This is a complete overhaul. So there are a whole lot of guys spending time calling agents as opposed to cracking down on film. This is a game Josh Heupel needs. This is a game Tennessee wants. And I'm not saying Florida players don't want to win. The desperation factor here for Tennessee is magnified. I mean, I don't mean to be tipping all our cards here because we can break down a whole lot of angles of the game. You ask me who I think is going to quit or who I think is going to show up. I think Tennessee is going to show up in spades, and I think Florida is teetering on the edge of just packing this thing in.
Chase, your opinions on that? Florida to me is just hard to figure because I go back to the Miami game. That's 3 losses in a row. Everybody's yelling at Billy Napier. They have a bye week. No reason for Florida to show up. Florida shows up and beats Texas 29-21. Then gets boat raced in a bad matchup with Texas A&M. I say boat raced. It was 34-17. Then beats Mississippi State in a game where State had more to play for. Another bye week. Shows up, plays Georgia tough in Jacksonville. No shows for Kentucky. That was also cold night in Lexington. And then played well enough at Ole Miss to have a chance in the final 2 minutes, although the box score was a little bit lopsided. Maybe Ole Miss led some things on the table. All that to say, like, there's this narrative that Florida's not going to show up that Jay just espoused. Do we believe it, though?
I don't know, because when you look at it, look, the game with Georgia, they had their chances. 24-20 was the final. They played good. And then you look at the Kentucky game, it was a disaster, did not look good. At that point, I thought, okay, Florida is done. Like they've given up. And then we see some good moments against Ole Miss. We see them challenge them in some ways. And I think, okay, maybe this team has not given up yet. And so I don't know what to think about them going into this one, because part of me sees, like they thought they could get it against Ole Miss. They didn't. They're going to be done. But part of me thinks they're now that team that's going to try to play spoiler more and do that against Tennessee. So at this point, I really don't know what to make of what I've seen from Florida.
Okay, I've got a storyline to look at, okay? Because both these teams have forced a decent number of turnovers and have been prone to giving them up too, okay? So I think that's one thing to look at. Feels like a turnover could turn this game or two in a big way, because that's happened for both these teams. Tennessee has sacked the quarterbacks 33 times. It has only given up 13. I would have thought the Tennessee number was higher than that with as many plays as they've run, but Vols have done a pretty good job protecting the quarterback. And I'm going to give you the numbers for Florida too. Florida has registered this far 21 sacks and given up 16. So I thought Florida might have had more than that, but I guess not. Still, Florida got after Ole Miss last week and created some havoc there. So that's been part of their game. I'm curious how big plays and turnovers figure into this one. And I say big plays, I outline turnovers. Both these offenses have been capable of generating some pretty explosive pass plays too, Jay.
Yeah, but, I mean, not to get too basic on this, DJ Lagway has been a disaster. I mean, and look, I was on the DJ train before the season. But when you've got more, at this point in the season, you've got more picks than touchdowns, and you've got those guys around you, that's on you, kid. And this is unlike the Oklahoma matchup for Tennessee. Tim Banks and this Tennessee defense is all about pressuring the quarterback and all about figuring out ways to put him in bad decisions. Now, if you've got a guy you trust back there, that's exploitable. Ask Gunnar Stockton. Ask John Mateer. Ask a whole lot of the games that Tennessee asked Ty Simpson. If the other team's got a quarterback they can trust, Tennessee's defense is gettable. Who outside the Lagway family trusts DJ Lagway at this point?
Yeah. I mean, health has never been there all season, or at least it wasn't before the season. I have to wonder how much that's affected him. But that doesn't change. I mean, he's still capable of generating some big plays, Chase. So I still think that's a storyline that could pop. Anything else here worth noting that you see as something to watch in this matchup?
Well, yeah, I think and you look at the Tennessee side of things and kind of, what they're playing for. They're 3-3 in the conference right now, and the last time they played an SEC opponent was a loss against Oklahoma, and so I think Tennessee sees the opportunity to change this narrative too of they can't go into the swamp and win a game of how long it's been since they've won there. So I think if you're Tennessee, you have the team that's able to change that narrative of being able to win there at Florida. And I think they have the play capabilities, they have the defense to be able to do that against this up and down Florida team.
Now, I don't know so much if it's the team, but it's the matchup.
Yeah.
Because I think it's fair to, if I'm going to be that critical about Florida, this Tennessee team has wilted in big moments on both sides of the ball. And Chris, to use your terminology, a path to victory, I can see a path for either team. And that path for Florida is hey, you remember you got Jaden Baugh back here. Let's make certain he gets 25 carries, because if you're running it right at Tennessee, you're going to have success more times than not. But if you're going to ask DJ Lagway to be the engineer on 7, 8, 9 play drives, he's going to take a sack or he's going to throw it to a guy in the other colored jersey. And that's just what we've seen. That's not hyperbole. That's not projection. That's proof positive of what we've seen through the first 10 weeks.
Yeah, some stuff here that's kind of catching my eye. I know as bad as Tennessee's pass defense has been, 4.9 on passing plays to New Mexico State. So that's kind of worth a note there. 3.9 to Oklahoma. Again, not good passing teams, but Tennessee's secondary has come under fire so many times. Had a couple of good games back to back. Now before that, Alabama, Kentucky, not so good. The Kentucky game was kind of a game script game. I mean, Florida's just hit and miss all over it. You mentioned the running game. Tennessee on rushing plays wasn't good against Oklahoma, was okay against Kentucky, pretty good against Alabama, but they can't run the ball, and not good against Arkansas, which can run the ball. So it's kind of like if you can run the ball, you can run it on Tennessee. If you can't, you probably don't. So I guess that means, what do we think of Florida's running game, Jay?
Well, I think it's been underutilized, and I think in a lot of ways it allows you the opportunity, again, without an identity, with an interim coach, and I'm certain Billy Gonzalez is doing the best he can, but he's a wide receivers coach. And if you're trying to figure out a way to put your best foot forward, everybody in that building, look, everybody knows me as a betting numbers guy, so I'm going to put this in an over-under scenario. Florida wins the game if DJ Lagway throws fewer than 23 passes. How about that?
Okay.
Because
Florida wins the game if he throws fewer than that.
Dictating the game script by giving the ball to Baugh, and you are saying, all right, you know what, Tennessee, we know you like to play fast. You go play fast, and you're going to have a 3 and out in 37 seconds. And you know what? Here we come again, downhill. And if you wanted to set the same over-under on Baugh getting 27 carries, then Florida wins. And that is the game script. That's the path for Florida, because both teams' most dynamic player, the Tennessee corner and Dallas Wilson, they're out. Both teams have quarterbacks who have an opportunity and shown a penchant for throwing the ball to the other team. That's a wash. Florida, when they commit to the run, is hard to handle. And I think they are more complete defensively, but they can't get out of their own way in terms of turnovers.
I keep looking for something to pop here in the matchup, and it's just not. And with Florida being just
to see, Chris, too, how energized. I know it's at the Swamp. I know it's against a rival. How energized is that crowd? And a fast Tennessee sport is, and you can turn. Look, I've talked everybody who's interviewed athletes, whether it's the high school level or the NFL level, they talk about cherishing the moment of turning a road crowd silent.
Yeah.
And let Tennessee get up 14-3, and next thing you know, there's like half a stadium there to sing the Tom Petty songs going into the fourth quarter, and there you go. That's a game script for Tennessee.
And that's the question I was going to ask, and I'm trying to find something again that tips a hand. Tennessee on the road beat Mississippi State 41-34, lost to Alabama 37-20, beat Kentucky 56-34. This will only be Tennessee's third true road game, so 2-1 in those. One at Alabama, where nobody had won in the SEC since 2019. That got snapped this weekend. So I don't know what you learned from that. I think my bigger thing is what you just said. What does Florida do at home? And so far, you had the loss to South Florida, you had the loss to Miami, then they beat Texas, then they beat Mississippi State. Close game. Florida kind of gave them that a little bit, but Florida won it. The Georgia game was neutral site, and so Florida hasn't been at home in, quite a bit. So, yeah, I don't know what to make all that. I'm just giving you stuff. Let's just go ahead and get the picks. And then we'll do opinions on over-under in a minute. But, Jay, we'll start with you. Who are you picking and why?
I'm taking Tennessee because of the positive bounce of dismissing Boo Carter and a head coach in place, firmly in place, and rallying his guys who know who their leader is. And I'm taking them to cover the 3.5. And I expect this to be maybe Tennessee's best game of the year.
Jay?
I am taking Tennessee as well. I think they're the better team. I think Florida it's been so up and down, inconsistent that, and I think there's going to be turnovers in this game. I think Tennessee is the team I trust more to take advantage of turnovers than Florida. I think Tennessee wins it.
Yeah, I don't have a good feel. I know historically you're playing with fire if you pick Tennessee to win in Gainesville, but again, I don't know what this spot means anymore. I'm taking Tennessee because of all the things. I trust Tennessee's offense to score points more than anything else in this game, so we'll ride with that. Going to ask you guys your opinion on the over-under, which is what? 57.5. Before we get there, reminder, we're brought to you by our friends at Yearly Company, a Nashville-based fine jewelry brand built on tradition, designed for meeting, each piece handcrafted from solid 14-karat gold, natural gemstones made to measure for a perfect fit, backed by a lifetime guarantee. Every Yearly Company bangle is custom sized, so knowing your size is the most important first step before you order. That's where the sizing kit comes in. Code SE16KIT gets you 100% off your sizing kit at checkout. Also brought to you by Rockform, the world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, Rock Lock secure mounting, SEC 25. Get you 25% off your whole order. Get the case and the vent clip for your car, and thank me for that later. Jay Greason, over under, your opinion. What have you got here?
I'm taking the over because when you've got two defenses that are dependent on the big play, one, they occasionally get the big play, which leads to short fields or even defensive scores. And two, when you're dependent on the big play, you then allow big plays. So, yeah. I mean, I can see multiple 40, 50-yard touchdown opportunities for each side. I like the over. I like Tennessee minus a 3.5. This will probably be one that when later in the week, Brian and I break down on bets and ball games, and he and I will be on opposite sides. But there's a lot to invest in Tennessee in the over, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going back and forth. I think I would take the over for some of the reasons Jay just said, but I feel like that's just the way these two teams are playing right now. I'm not sure who can make the big stop and get the momentum that way. I think there'll be quite a bit of points.
Jay, you and I think, have done a lot of shows together lately because I think we're starting to think each other's thoughts. And yours on the over were exactly mine. So I'm going to take the over. We all took Tennessee to win. We all took the over. So what's going to happen, obviously, is Florida's going to win in the under.
2017.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, that would be par for the course for the season. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed it. Hope we gave you some insight. I'm not entirely sure, but man, we tried. So anyway, thank you for watching us here at Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.